There's a good chance you've got a rust remover sitting in your kitchen right now, and it costs about 40 cents to use. Not a specialty compound, not a $50 tool restoration kit, a potato. Cut it in half, press it into some baking soda, and it will pull rust off a blade without leaving a single scratch behind. Something almost none of the abrasive pads or lapping compounds sold for that exact job can honestly claim. If you've ever tried to deal with rust on something that actually matters, a good knife, an old tool, a treasured blade that's been in the family, you already know the standard playbook. Sandpaper, steel wool, rust erasers, diamond lapping paste. If you're serious about it, all of it works, technically. All of it also removes metal along with the rust. Every one of those methods is fundamentally abrasive. It's physically grinding material away, rust and steel both, and there's no way around that. You end up with a blade that's technically rust-free, but also thinner, duller at the edge, and covered in microscopic scratches that, ironically, give the next round of rust even more surface area to grab onto. It's not that anyone's scheming against you. Abrasives are just genuinely the wrong tool for the job if what you care about is preserving the original edge and finish. It's a mechanical solution to a chemical problem, and mechanical solutions to chemical problems tend to be blunt instruments. Here's the part that doesn't get talked about much. Rust removal doesn't have to be physical at all. It can be entirely chemical. And the chemical that does it is sitting in your produce drawer. The compound doing the work is called oxalic acid, and it's not some fringe discovery. It's actually one of the more well-documented weak organic acids out there. It occurs naturally in a long list of plants. Rhubarb, spinach, and yes, potatoes all carry meaningful concentrations of it. What makes oxalic acid special isn't that it's rare, it's that it's selective. When it comes into contact with iron oxide, which is what rust actually is, it grabs onto the iron ions and pulls them into a new water-soluble compound called iron oxalate. That compound just rinses away. Critically, oxalic acid doesn't have much appetite for iron that isn't already oxidized. So once the rust is gone, the reaction has nothing left to eat, and it stops. It doesn't keep eating into good steel the way an abrasive keeps eating into everything in its path, rust or not. This isn't some backyard folk theory either. Conservators who restore genuinely old ironwork, museum pieces, antique tools, artifacts where you cannot afford to lose even a fraction of a millimeter of original material, have used oxalic acid solutions for exactly this reason. When the goal is removing corrosion while preserving every bit of the original surface underneath, chemists reach for a chelating acid, not a grinding wheel. The potato and baking soda version you can do at home is a much weaker, much slower cousin of that same chemistry, but it's the same underlying idea, just using what's sitting in your fridge instead of a lab-grade reagent. So why doesn't everyone already know this? Mostly because it's boring from a business standpoint. A raw potato isn't a product. Nobody's going to build a marketing campaign, a subscription box, or a premium SKU around cut a vegetable in half. The abrasives and lapping compounds you see marketed toward knife and tool enthusiasts are genuinely useful products for sharpening and polishing. That part's real. But rust removal specifically has quietly gotten bundled in with that category. Even though it's a different problem with a much cheaper, gentler chemical solution available, it's less a conspiracy and more just an accident of what's easy to sell. Here's how you actually do it. Cut a raw potato in half to expose the moist inner flesh. That moisture is where the oxalic acid lives. Press the cut face into a shallow dish of plain baking soda so it picks up a light coating. Then use that face like a sanding block, rubbing it directly against the rusted area with steady, moderate pressure. You don't need to press hard. As you work, the potato's moisture keeps releasing oxalic acid onto the rust. And the baking soda does two things at once. It neutralizes the acid so it can't linger and etch the metal, and it acts as an extremely soft physical buffer, gently loosening the dissolved rust without scratching anything. After a minute or so of steady rubbing, you'll usually see the surface start to darken. That's the rust converting and lifting away. When the potato face gets saturated, slice off a thin layer to expose fresh flesh, dip it in baking soda again, and keep going. Once the rust is gone, rinse the blade under warm water and dry it immediately, since any lingering moisture, from the potato or otherwise, will invite fresh oxidation right back. A few honest caveats, because this only works if you use it right. This method is genuinely good for light surface rust, and the kind of dulling discoloration that builds up on tools left in a damp shed or a garage over winter. It is not a substitute for real sharpening, and it's not going to instantly strip deep, years-old pitting the way a dedicated chemical rust remover or an extended soak might. It also won't do anything for structural corrosion that's already eaten into the metal. Chemistry can dissolve rust, but it can't undo pitting that's already happened. And like any acid, don't leave it sitting on the blade indefinitely. A few minutes of contact is the sweet spot, not an overnight soak. Treat it as what it is, a genuinely useful, low-cost first move for light rust, not a miracle cure for a badly neglected tool. What's interesting here isn't really the potato. It's the reminder that a lot of household problems that get sold to us as requiring specialized products actually have a simpler chemical explanation sitting a few steps away, if you're willing to ask why something works instead of just buying whatever's marketed at the problem. That habit, checking the actual mechanism before reaching for your wallet, tends to save you more money over a lifetime than any single hack ever will. And speaking of chemistry, doing the heavy lifting where you'd least expect it, there's a related trick used on ships and buried pipelines where engineers deliberately let one piece of metal rust so that a more important one doesn't. It's called sacrificial protection, and it works on a completely different principle than anything we just covered. That's worth its own breakdown. For Hidden Fix Lab, that's next.